All right, well, the Long Shadows project from Washington State was started by a man named Alan Shoup, and Alan ran Chateau Ste. Michelle for years and got, all these contacts in the industry, came up with this genius idea. Let me put some of the greatest winemakers on earth with some of the greatest vineyards in Washington and have them, specialize in the varietal that they do in their country and bring some of these great Washington State vineyards, into the limelight here and for the rest of the world to see. They make some fabulous wines in Washington State. Let me tell you, the diversity here, amazing, because each one of these wines features different varietals, different blends, and at the highest level of quality. Really outstanding stuff. The first wine we had, the Poet's Leap Riesling, and this is a wine that is a joint venture between Alan Shoup and Armin Diehl, winemaker from Germany. His family has been making wine there since 1802. And a really pretty nose here, white peach and grapefruit citrus with a touch of slate-like flint kind of minerality, something you get from the Riesling varietal. Usually after it's had a couple years of bottle age, so maybe this component will come out even a little more. But a nice amount of that ripe pear and peach fruit on the tongue. Soft and approachable style of Riesling with a little nice acidity and a touch of mineral showing on the finish. Very good stuff at $22. The Poet's Leap Riesling, a 2009 vintage. Next up, the Sagg from Columbia Valley. This is a blend of Sangiovese, Cabernet, and Syrah, all from Horse Heaven Hills Vineyard. And the Alder Ridge, well, actually the Alder Ridge vineyard they get the Syrah from. So pulling from some of the greatest sites they can to get Syrah and Sangiovese. Something I'm not usually fond of, Sangiovese, outside of Tuscany, but this wine pulled it off really well. They had the Folinari family as their partners here, and had that bouquet of wild strawberry, dark plum fruit, hints of dark chocolate, fresh earth and herbs, and really nice kind of Washington meets Tuscany style wine, and pretty good for a super Tuscan blend. Like I said, things I'm usually not fond of outside of Tuscany. All right, next up, the Feathers Cabernet, and this is the handiwork of Alan Shoup and longtime friend Randy Dunn. Kind of atypical for a Dunn wine, though. This wine had some lovely sweet tobacco spice and currant cherry cassis berry fruit on the nose, and very forward and seductive. Randy Dunn's wines from Howell Mountain usually take 10 years before you even want to think about drinking them, but this wine, a 2006 vintage, big and chewy on the tongue, but really forward and really drinkable at this young stage in his life. Some nice cigar box and really nice refined tannic structure there. 100% varietal, an excellent bottle of Cabernet for $53. All right, the Pirouette. This is Augustin Huneas and Philippe Melka, our joint ventures here. These guys no longer work together. I'm thinking Napa Valley. I know Philippe is no longer at Quintessa. But this wine had a kind of a musty character to the nose, a bouquet of damp earth, a black truffle, currant cassis berry fruit, toasted oak spice, dark chocolate, and new leather, thick and chewy on the tongue with a nice amount of black currant berry fruit. And really round tannins, though. Lovely firm acidity and that dark cocoa spice kind of showing up at the end. A nice drinkable style, again, with but a nice long finish here as well. Another excellent bottle of Washington State, another blend coming from Washington State, Columbia Valley. Chestakita coming up next, and this is a combination of the two grandparents' name here from Alan Shoup. It's a Gilles Nicot wine. Gilles is the gentleman that runs the whole project here. He oversees all the wines, and he's from a village in Provence. This wine is a blend of 60% Cabernet Sauvignon, 30% Syrah, and 10% Merlot. And this gentleman was also the winemaker at Woodward Canyon for 8 years, Gilles, so a very talented man, even though maybe not a superstar in his own right like the other people involved in this project. But a very seductive bouquet with fig, cassis berry fruits on the nose, dark cocoa, tamarind, and fresh floral nuance here as well. Really exotic bouquet, big and chewy on the palate with layers of nuance, and that nuance coming through from the nose on the finish, ripe round tannins, and most excellent stuff. Cheaper than the first two wines. This is my pick so far for wine of the day in this grouping. But the sequel was up next. The sequel is a John Duval wine. He's the partner. He was the winemaker at Penfolds before Peter Gago, and the fruit comes from the Boucher Vineyard and Red Mountain and Wallula Vineyard, and about 5% Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend. This wine had that lovely toasty oak kind of burnt campfire wood notes, thick plum and black cherry fruit, black licorice spice, dark bittersweet cocoa, and black licorice to that blackberry and blueberry fruit, like jammy on the tongue, but nice acidity holding things together there at the end. An excellent bottle of Columbia Valley Syrah. Next up, the Pedestal wine, and this is from the great Michel Rolland, and man, no surprise, also a rival for wine of the day here among this group. Very pretty bouquet of plum and black cherry, Kirsch-like fruit, bittersweet chocolate, fresh plowed black earth, toasty oak spice, some lovely floral notes. Wow, big tannins, ripe, and just a knockout style Merlot. You would think this is Cabernet in a blind tasting, but really well balanced, and just a finish that goes on and on. Great stuff, that Pedestal Merlot. All right, that's 2007 vintage. Next up, the Nine Hats, and this is a wine that's kind of a blend of all the different wines. And kind of an everyday, price range, $28, and this is for leftovers. Man, pretty good stuff in its own right. Really nice little wine, and he has 3 different labels. So this is this Cabernet, even though it doesn't say Cabernet, the Syrah and Sangiovese. Nine Hats does have the varietal label listed on there. Black cherry, black plum-like fruit, dark chocolate, sweet herbs, black licorice, a little hints of pencil lead coming through there. Smooth and polished on the palate, a very balanced style of Cabernet Sauvignon, an excellent little value. All right, well, next up, we have a tasting at Cafe Max and a seminar on Pirouette with the Cellars Milas.